Welcome to Healers Talk Healing, the podcast where we gather to explore the art and science of holistic healing, uncovering the secrets to a happier, healthier you. I'm your host, Nina Ganguly, and together we will delve into the intriguing world of holistic healing, delving into the mind-body connection, ancient wisdom, and natural remedies. Get ready for enlightening stories, thought-provoking expert interviews, and practical tips that will empower you to unlock your true potential and embrace a vibrant, balanced life. Whether you're an experienced wellness enthusiast or simply curious about the power of healing, join us on this exhilarating journey as we share the wisdom and insights that can truly transform your life. It's time to embark on a voyage towards a happier, healthier you. So, without further ado, let's dive into the captivating world of Healers Talk Healing.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay.
Let's talk about it. It's January 1st, and I don't know what the weather how the weather changes in California. But in Ontario, in certain parts of the world, there's something called SAD, which is Seasonal Affective Disorder or something like that.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Right? So, I wish I could remember exactly what it was. And now I feel a little tongue-tied. But many of us suffer with that sun deficit where there's not enough sun out every day. And, there's that coupled with people who are, traversing through the holidays and it hasn't been that joyous time that,
yes, that's true.
They like others celebrate and may have a more joyous time. And we both know, and it is very well known, that there are a lot of people that, are not having a joyous time during this major holiday that we have. I'm going to say in North America and all over the world. It's not just in North America, it's all over the world. We celebrate all different holidays around this time.
Yes.
And so I think it would be perfect for us to kind of delve into a discussion around when it isn't that. We've touched upon it before, but not in a way where we're talking about, the depression, the sadness that sets in during this time. And even for people who have celebrated, right? It's like you get the high of the celebration and seeing everybody and coming together. And then it's January and nothing's really going on.
Exactly. There's the lull. It's the it's equivalent to the caffeine and sugar high. It's like, woo! Hey. Oh, okay, here we are.
Yeah, and it's I know that I think it is challenging sometimes for people to say how they're feeling during this time.
It can be. It can be. What I find is that when people are in a place of depression, which depression can happen for many different reasons and in many different ways. However, the holidays really bring on depression, which is also a form of grief, which I wanted to touch upon during this podcast, is being able to move beyond grief, which again can spurn depression, right? During this time when people go into depression, it is for a lot of reasons. You just touched upon one huge reason in terms of the sun being down for more hours of the day than being up. It can be in our case, in Southern California or parts of Southern California, we don't get snow. So it's not like this beautiful, wow, look, where you can find some joy in the beauty of the natural environment. It is in my case, it is the day before Christmas. We literally got almost 4 inches of rain which is quite a bit within a 48-hour period. The area I live in was never properly set up to have drainage, water drainage. So I walk out the Wednesday morning when the trash collectors come, and I'm going to pick up chairs for Christmas breakfast. And I'm like, where are our trash cans? Because the collectors are going to come no
Yeah.
matter how much it's raining. There's a flooded driveway and curb in front of my house all the way down the street. And I'm like, where's my trash can? And I look and I'm like, oh my God, my trash cans, they're sailing away. So I'm running out there in the pouring deluge. It is so gray and gloomy that it's hard to see really past a few feet. Um, and so in that situation, yes, depression can definitely set in. And when being in an environment that is literally, I heard on the news a few days ago, we get an average of 8 inches of rain a year.
Oh.
With it, yes, that's not very much
Mm-mm.
when you're talking about a year. But within the span of a week and a half, where it was raining on and off, but really heavy rain, we went through almost 11 inches of rain in a week and a half.
Yeah.
So that was enough for people to go, ooh, don't want to get out and all of that, not knowing how to drive. Even the freeways, on the extreme
Hmm.
lanes were flooded. Everything around us was flooded. And having to be out in that to prepare for Christmas, to have a joyous time when it also in my area rained heavily on Christmas Day. Yeah, it can cause a little bit of depression.
Yeah, of course.
So that is one of the things that comes up. But other things that come up during the holidays that creates this depression and really again grief, because there's a sense of loss.
Hmm.
There it can be the loss of being in a place of joyfulness. It can be the loss if you're by yourself, even if your family is somewhere else, but you're in a location where you can't get to your family or they can't get to you, you may be grieving the loss of celebrating with family. You're feeling alone.
Hmm.
No, you're feeling lonely. You're really
Hmm.
feeling lonely, right? And so loneliness is something that happens quite a bit during the holidays. And then let's fast forward beyond Christmas and Hanukkah. Let's move into New Year's Eve,
Hmm.
and you don't have a date because we've been so programmed with that's what's needed is
Yeah.
being able to go out, be with your loved one, oh, starting the new year off. And
Hmm.
why am I sitting here by myself? There's no place to go. It's rain. Well, in our case, again, New Year's Eve, it's pouring and raining outside. And do I want to drive with flooded conditions, rainy conditions, hard to see, and drunk drivers? Maybe not.
Hmm.
And so it does create all of these different feelings. They become heightened during that time. But the primary thing that I want to add to that during
Hmm.
the holiday time, and it really can start in November, I find, what I call
Mm.
the holiday season. I think Halloween starts the holiday season. And is that many people choose to transition during that time.
Mm.
And that can be various places throughout the world, whether it is sunny like Australia. We had a
Hmm.
wonderful Australian guest this year at Christmas. Um, and it's, 80 something degrees, almost 90, where he flew from
Hmm.
into our much, cooler weather. And yet we were talking about this, and there's still a lot of people who pass away during the holidays.
Mm.
They transition from being in this world into the, crossing over into the
Hmm.
next. And that's a really big part of what happens too during this time when people are grieving. So you can be in a place of joyfulness, and even if a loved one or someone you know and you've been close to has not made their physical transition into another world, for people who are like, what is she really talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
I call it transition because we're always in transition. Spirit never dies.
Hmm.
And so when people die during this time, yes, it's really hard hitting. But it can also be hard hitting when I think about the dinner that for Christmas that I had. I did it because my mom is 96. She'll be 97 this year. And she has been in great health up until most recently over the past about 6 months.
Hmm.
And so, although she's still okay, I really don't know how long is she going to be able to really get together with the whole family,
Hmm.
all of us at once, and she be able to enjoy it. That was part of it. Like, how long will she be able to really enjoy it? So I invited the family. What started off to be 30 ended up being 40. And so I'm preparing. And yes, I'm picking up food because I catered it, but I picked up food Christmas Day. Again, deluge, you should have seen me. Those were the videos people should have had. I look like a wet puppy, trying to balance a massive box for, get it into the car, but I couldn't hold an umbrella. Anyway, I know it was a funny sight. Um, so I decided to do that. What ended up happening is that my aunt, I call her my sister aunt because
Mm.
she was only 6 years older than me, passed away suddenly.
Mm.
And it was pretty much the day before Christmas. It was actually almost midnight of the 23rd, but might as well say like the day before Christmas. And she was someone who, yes, she had had health challenges, but her health challenges were not the kind of challenges that one would expect the person to transition.
Mm.
The health challenges were more like, many people at that age may have like knee issues or hip
Mhm.
issues, some arthritis, little, those kind of things,
Yeah.
but not anything that's life threatening.
Right.
Okay. And so, anyway, when she passed, um, it was an absolute shock. It
Mm.
was she, what? What happened? And it wasn't just me, it was the whole family.
Mm.
And needless to say, my aunt with her siblings and their some of their spouses, and then their grandchildren, Anne and Anne, makes for about half of the number of people who were coming to Christmas dinner.
Mm.
So Christmas dinner was deeply lacking that part of the family. And I'm sharing all of this, and I'll get back to my aunt in a moment, because the grief of her having passed that close to the primary day
Mm.
was something that did not destroy our joy. It did put a damper over it,
Mm.
clearly, because the rest of us who are, well, I was very close to her, as were many of the other family members, but still came to dinner. Anyway, um, ultimately, her passing at that time and the absence of so many of our family members also reminded me, because I was in grief myself,
Mhm.
it reminded me of how many people in my family have passed through the years.
Mm.
And I was thinking back, and I bring this up because this is also a form of grief that can start causing depression. because I was thinking about how when I was growing up, we could easily have 60, 70. One year we had really close to 100 people for dinner, and they were all family.
Mm.
It was my mom's side of the family, my dad's side of the family, each one of their spouses. My mom had three brothers, my father had seven siblings, and they all were married. They all had kids, my grandparents. It would, and not only was it all of us, but it also included the in-laws
Hmm.
of the family of the in-laws, their parents, some of their siblings. And that's how we were so big, but we were all family and we all treated each other like family. We all knew each other. We loved each other. Um,
Mm.
Ironically, most of us were all from Southern California and LA in particular. Many grew up together.
Mm.
So it was a true family affair. And here we were this Christmas down to about 20 people.
Mm.
And so it's this time of year can also create all of those feelings of what was. And Christmas was always special for our entire family. And although we still give thanks and we're grateful for those of us that are here, and we did honor those who had made transition at our Christmas dinner, there's still a lot of grief that's there.
Hmm.
Now, in reference to my aunt, and when I think back on it, many of my relatives have made their transition during this time of year, between October to the end of December. And this year in particular, I think it was more hard hitting for me personally because my aunt is only 6 years older than me. My grandmother had like what I call three sets of kids.
Okay.
My other grandmother had two sets of kids.
Gotcha.
And so and so um um I had three grandmothers, two grandfathers. Y'all can do the math. Anyway, so so it was first of all for me it was shocking because I'm like, ooh, that's so close to home.
Mm.
But the wow was the fact that she was an earth angel.
Mm.
And she was one of the only people, and I meditated on this and I contemplated her life and so forth. And what I realized is I never honestly can remember a time when she had judgment against anybody or anything or anyone. Like, even if somebody said, had some judgment about someone or about a particular thing, she'd say, well, you have to look past that. I really believe blah blah blah. She always did that. It was never, oh yeah, that person such and such, or yeah, that place sucks, or it was never that. You
Mm.
have to look past that because everything has its beauty. Now let's take, for example, she was always like that. And that's a quality that's very rare, very rare.
Mm.
Um, she was a person that many people would say was extremely religious, very Christian.
Mm.
And she incorporated and went back to Jesus because her commitment and her essence was really about what Jesus as Christ taught us. And so she incorporated also many of the Jewish aspects within her Christian religiousness
Mm.
and brought the two together. So she actually created a partnership between her church and one of the temples. So they
Wow.
actually partnered as kind of sister um, religious. I don't know what the word is for it, but just, she brought them together. And so we would have Passover as well as Good Friday. we would have, excuse me, we would have Hanukkah and Christmas. We would honor Yom Kippur, and
Hmm.
and, and also on the other side of my family, my grandparents were Jewish, so
Mm.
there was always these ties. But with her in particular, she made a true commitment to the Christ spirit, to
Mm.
the essence and spirit of Christ. And that's why she didn't have judgment. And that's why she always saw the God in everyone and the God that goes through everything. That's what she always saw. And she was a woman who went through major, major challenges in her life. I mean, major, starting from the age of 20 something. I won't go all the way back there, but it was 56 years of
Mm.
her going through physical, mental, and emotional challenges that most people would never be able to spring out of or be resilient with.
Mm.
Her only child, she couldn't have children because of a physical situation she was faced with when she was in her early 20s. So she adopted a lovely child, she and her husband, and her child passed away at the age of 21 from a tragic accident.
Oh no.
And everyone, of course, was calling her, and the family were talking and trying to, to console her, console ourselves. She was consoling everybody else of her son's death. It was so beautiful because she literally lived the essence, the presence of Christ, and and just comforted people. And I was like, "Aren't you grieving?" And she's like, "Of course I'm grieving. I miss my son." She said, "But God, the Lord took him home, and it's okay." And the way that she, began to speak in terms of how, we continue to live on in spirit, in the heart of others. We all leave certain legacies. No matter how short or how long we've been on the planet. She
Mm.
just beautiful, beautiful spirit. So all that comforting during her grief, and now she's gone, was like, wow, you know, she left too soon,
Mm.
but she didn't. She left when she was supposed to. What I do know is that her legacy will continue to live on because of her commitment to her faith. And although people would classify her as being religious,
Mm.
she was a true, true spiritual person
Mm.
in every sense of the word. She may have spoken a lot about Jesus and Christ and know the Bible verses and um, um, Old Testament as well as New, the Torah as well as the Bible. But she was very spiritual because never ever was there a time when she was anything but loving, accepting, all encompassing, which is part of what I guess my family has been anyway, why we had such big holiday dinners. Um, and that's to me the one of the primary examples that helped me keep going and have allowed me now to be in a place of I don't have to grieve her. I can now celebrate her legacy, who she is in spirit, the essence
Mm.
of her, and be in a place of determination to be your best self at all times, loving people at all times and giving thanks and being in gratitude even before gratitude was a thing, at all times. And again, I never remember her being anything other than that, even when we were kids.
What a beautiful story about a beautiful soul. That's
Hmm.
so lovely in the sharing. You know, it's wonderful that you have the ability to take that away and also the insight that you have. And there are so many of us out here in the world who are cynical about all of that, who are like,
Yes.
well, that's nice for you, Lynn. That's
Hmm.
it's nice for you. Um, I'm not one of those people. I think I try and find, I'm going to say the silver lining in every cloud. Not right away, not
Hmm.
right away.
Hmm.
I'm definitely not as generous as your aunt or your sister aunt um, was and is in her spirit. Yet, how do we, find that silver lining in the dark times? There's that question of, or you hear a lot of times, there's always a lesson in something, there's something to learn. But in the midst of it, is not everyone, I'm not going to say everyone, a lot of us are like, lesson schmession, this just sucks. And, how do we not allow ourselves to be drowned through the grief and allow ourselves to feel it in a way that is going to um, in a way, I don't know the right words for it, but really it is so it doesn't take us out, so that we can still continue to, I know this is going to be a corny thing, but live, laugh, love through all
Hmm.
of it.
Hmm. Hmm. As you're asking the questions, one of the things I can honestly say that is really, really significant. And again, I think about her, and I also think about my life over the past 40 plus years, is practice, practice, practice.
Mm,
When you are in a place of elation, experiencing the best of life, and everything's so wonderful, and the sky is blue, and the roses are blooming, and you're so in love, and your career is really taking off, and you have a beautiful family, and you're grateful. You're just like, wow, this is phenomenal. This is so great. This is so wonderful. But it's also practicing that same belief system, that not only is my life wonderful in this, moment of all of this joyful stuff going on, but or not but it's because I am able to see the real essence of what I'm experiencing.
mm,
To every single experience we have, there is a true essence and the divine, in terms of, I say divine spirit. Some people say God, some say the universe. I don't care what you call it, creator. It's, the essence of that light, pure, unconditional love and light runs through everything. And it does take practice to see it, even if you're going through something that is very challenging, that
mhm,
is not easy to face or deal with. And when you first have some kind of horrible experience, I use the word horrible because it can feel horrible,
mhm,
okay? That's a time when it's easy to move into a place of, oh my God, why did this happen to me? I'm really a good person. Oh, we go into victim, right?
right.
Because we're feeling like we have no control over the situation. We feel like we have no control of what's happening to us.
Hmm.
But we do have control over ourselves. Even if, using my aunt as an example, she did not have control over stopping that accident,
Mm,
but she did have control over how she could find from that the beauty that he left to the world, his laughter, his creativity, his he was I want to use the word fun. He was just always fun, you know.
mm,
and just really such a beautiful young man in so many ways. And so that's where she was able to see and hold to that beauty and practice the experience of joy and laughter that he brought into her life, even when she was dealing with her own other aspects of challenges. And
Mhm.
so that's an example of how, you know, one thing that we can do, but it takes practice. So if you're meditating, if you're breathing, if you have, you know, whatever process you have, use your process or use your processes
Mhm.
and keep doing it. Don't stop. It's ongoing. Oh, yeah, I've gotten over that, so I don't need to do that anymore. Continue with the process because that's what keeps you elevating, right?
Mm.
So that's one of the things on how you can get beyond grief.
I love what you said because in that, what I heard was balance. What I
Mm-hmm,
heard is, there's a balance of allowing yourself to feel sad,
mm-hmm,
upset,
mm-hmm,
whatever feelings that we would quote unquote call the negative feelings
mm-hmm.
inside of a situation, but also to find the balance in using your tools and your practices, or even if you don't have tools or practices, incorporating something to
Mm-hmm.
help you balance out the clouds, to find that silver
Yes.
lining, to say, okay. And I know it's not easy. It's easy for us to sit here and talk about it or
Mm-hmm,
share
mm-hmm,
because we do have a practice and we have, I'm going to say we, as in you and I, have set up ourselves with a community of people that we surround ourselves with that
mm-hmm.
believe, um, not exactly believe exactly what we believe, but are on the same wavelength, I'm going to say, on how
Yes.
we manage through life,
Mm-hmm.
right?
It's
So
true.
there's someone like you who can remind me, hey, you know what? Don't forget to do these things. You know about these things. Don't forget these things to
Mm-hmm.
help you when you see someone getting deeper and deeper into the hole. And likewise, I would do the same. It's like, hey, I get that you're going through this. And don't forget, you have all of these things that will
Yes.
help you manage so that you can hold on to the silver lining. And I want to say it's a choice.
Mm-hmm.
It's a choice to say, I'm not going to let this, like you said, overwhelm me that it will completely take me out. There
Mm-hmm.
are there has to be a moment of, not has to be. I don't want to use those has to be, have to be, none of should be, none of that. But there
Mm-hmm.
can be a moment of joy in the midst of grief. That's okay.
Yes. It is
And
okay.
and it should be there. I know there's a lot of, in different religion, there's a lot of ceremony and circumstance and traditions that you do when there is a loss.
Yeah, that's
So,
right.
for instance, I know in Hinduism, basically you mourn for a year.
Ah,
There's
okay.
no real, you're not supposed to attend any celebrations. You don't eat meat.
Oh, I
There's
see what
so
you're
there's so
saying.
many things that that continue to perpetuate, like to be in grief of the
Mm-hmm.
loss of this
Mm-hmm.
person.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, or we're talking about people, but there's grieving for other things too, things that
Oh,
didn't happen
there's
that you wanted to happen, relationships that end that you didn't want to end. There's all kinds of grief, but we're specifically just talking about this during this episode, that I don't allow for your joy to be there,
mm-hmm.
and I would invite those people who feel like they have to be in this space of sadness when they want to feel joy because of
Yes.
religious traditions. And,
Yes.
you know, I know for me personally, like when I'm gone, I don't want people to grieve me for a year in sorrow. And, for instance, when my grandmother passed away, my father shaved his head. No, he shaved his head. He wasn't supposed to eat meat. You're not supposed, there's also like a whole bunch of
Oh,
things you're
wow.
supposed to do.
There are a lot
I
of
don't want
rules.
anyone, well, I would, if I'm going to say I believe in a religion, I think I attach myself more to Christianity because that is what I grew up in and that's what I understand the most. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want anybody mourning from the place of like for like a set amount of time, and any of that, because I would hope that the thought of my life would bring joy.
Well, yes. And here's the thing, many of the traditions in reference to grief that you're speaking about
Hmm.
have more to do with, I don't want to forget this person, and I want to make sure the community knows I'm not forgetting this person, and no one in the community should forget this person, so on and so forth. In reality, and I think about Yoko Ono, John Lennon's wife.
Hmm.
She was smart enough to do this. One of the best ways to honor the person who has made their transition is to give them back their energy. And when you give them their energy, their spirit can continue to move on and elevate and elevate and elevate.
Mm.
And there are many ways in which to do that. Burn all the pictures with the person. Most people don't want to do that, and it's not always necessary, but that's one thing you can do. Giving away their clothes and all of their things, that and those things that still have value that others can receive,
Mm.
and put their energy on it and have a blessing from the person who made transition. But other ways, and this is why I said I think about Yoko Ono, with someone as famous as John Lennon, as John Lennon was, I guess he's still considered an icon, yes.
Yes, yeah.
But it's different. At the time of his passing, she asked the entire world to grieve him, and there was some kind of a public something or other on TV. But she did an all call at the same exact time all over the world for people to think about John for 5 minutes.
Mm.
And what that did was everyone thinking about him at the same exact time and remembering, the feelings that his music may have brought, the person himself, whatever your connection was to him, directly or indirectly, as you thought about the man, you were releasing his energy back to him. So she basically gathered everyone in the world who wanted to mourn him to do that during that period of time, but simultaneously. So no matter where you were, that was the time you did it. And you could even, at least for me, experience the release, not
Mm.
just within myself, but it was like, oh, whoa, okay. And then after that, there was no more news media and all this other stuff that kept going and droning on and on and on
Hmm.
about John Lemon. It was done.
Yep. Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
the
We
best
don't.
thing we can do.
That is so beautiful that you say that, because now I'm thinking about it. No, we don't postulate or ponder or talk about the way we still talk about, Marilyn Monroe,
Mhm.
JFK. I'm just saying these,
What's Elvis Presley?
I
I'm
was
like,
going to
what's
say
his
Elvis
name?
Presley,
Elvis
right?
Presley. Yeah.
It's like it's interesting, and it's an interesting conversation. I know we started the conversation around um grief, and not just like the loss of
And
somebody, the loss of
mhm.
something, the loss of the sun, all
Well,
of
it can
this.
even be something as simple as the loss of your virginity,
Yep.
the loss of believing
Hmm.
someone. It can be, grief and loss happens in a lot of ways. Most people think of it as somebody died, but loss and grief is tied into anything that has shifted, whether it's an opportunity, whether it
Hmm.
is something that you're not sure you'll be able to do anymore or at all,
Hmm.
whether it's a person, whether it's a place where you've lived, whether it's letting go of a job, no, all of that, all of those things are steeped in some form of grief and
Absolutely.
grieving. I mean, when I had, my hysterectomy, although physically it felt fabulous, I'm like, ooh, I feel really good because I was having so many issues
Mm.
in that area. But I also grieve the fact that, oh, I don't have my uterus anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you don't think about that would be a reaction or a sensation to
Mm-hmm.
something, but it was. And it's like, okay, well, let me just do my process and move forward through the grief. And what is this about? What does it represent to you? Whatever it is, your tools, as you say, and your process, you begin to move into it. That's why I was saying this is all a practice. It is not, it is not a, well, I started therapy here and then I ended it because I feel better about, David now.
Oh, girl, thank you. You said that. Like
it's
there,
it's
because
not
there's so
that.
many
Yes,
people
only that.
who do that, who will, you know, I'm specifically talking about therapy, which
Mhm,
I believe personally is something that is ongoing. It's like going to the doctor.
mhm,
I believe that should be part of our practice in health, which is
mhm,
to seek a therapist
mhm.
regularly, not just when crap is hitting the fan, but on a regular, hey, how's it going? Check in. Oh, there's a few
Yes,
things you're dealing with here. Huh,
yes.
okay. Let me remind you, you have these tools, or let me share something new with you that maybe
Mm-hmm,
you never thought about.
mm-hmm.
Because, we very easily as humans become so quickly adaptable to a new tool, to a new
Yes,
process. And then we use
yes.
it and it comes so quickly. And maybe that tool is maybe not the right one for this new specific thing that you're dealing with. It may
Mhm.
seem familiar, but it doesn't mean it's going to be addressed by the same tools that you have in the toolbox. And I
Mhm.
strongly, when I'm getting on my soapbox now, I strongly believe that having regular therapeutic sessions, whether it's talk therapy, whether it's somatic therapy, whatever kind of therapy works for you, that you do it regularly.
Mhm.
And it's like you said, it's a practice, it's like exercise. You build your muscles, you build your muscles, you build your muscles if you're going to the gym. You start
Mhm.
going to the gym, guess what happens?
You
Your
start to
muscles,
build muscle.
yeah, you build muscle, but when you stop going, you start to
Oh,
lose
when you stop. Oh,
you
right.
start
Yeah.
to lose that muscle so
Yeah.
quickly,
You
you
lose the
know?
muscle mass. Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So in order to have that stability, that foundation, really draw upon the tools or create something new for yourself.
Hmm.
And I don't want to minimize at all the feelings of grief. They are real. And
Oh,
you should
absolutely.
absolutely feel your
Hmm.
feels. You should
Hmm.
deal with those feelings and begin to heal those feelings. It's very
Hmm.
important. Because there are, and guess what? You could be grieving for the same thing for many years.
Oh, absolutely.
Like sometimes
Absolutely.
it
And
it
sometimes
doesn't go away.
right. And sometimes you don't even know what you're grieving. So
Mhm.
it's okay if you are in the middle of traffic and you just start sobbing and crying and you don't even know what it's for or what it's about. Don't feel like you're being silly or that it doesn't mean anything. It's a release. And it's a way to release grief or fear or whatever it is that might be deeper within you. It often has not as much to do with what's going on presently
Mhm.
as it does over the long haul. And the other thing I wanted to say too is that when you begin some kind of practice, in my case, it's always been meditation, it has been writing, um, uh, it has been obviously teaching and counseling because every time I do that, and assist others, I'm also of course assisting myself. It's always been community and people that I can turn to and work with, including therapists, life coaches, other people who have mentored me in various ways. All of that, you want to stick to your practice. For my aunt, it was every single day she would read the Bible, read part of the Torah, and she would, starting around 11 o'clock at night until about 6 in the morning, every day she would pray for herself and other people. That was her process. Now, when you're consistently doing that, you are going to see the divine in everything.
Mm-hmm.
You will be able to go through divorce, the loss of a child, having to relearn how to walk, talk, the alphabet, and stuff like that, which she had to do due to general anesthesia for a surgery she had. She had to literally relearn from being a person who was like, we'll say, a 1-year-old. And it took 2 years for her to learn how to walk again, for her to learn the alphabet, for her to be able to read, for her to do anything. I mean, literally, she could not do anything. So, but you begin to see the beauty as you move through those things, that God is still got my hand. That's where she always was. So I'm using her and part of myself as an example, and you as well. Stick to your practice. Have something, even if it's just one tool as a baseline, and just keep doing that. And as you said so eloquently, Nina, just then add things. Make sure you stick with your therapist. Do these other things as well, because all of that together will always be available to you as you move through. I do want to mention, I hope this book can be seen. It's called
A little bit,
Grief. Whoop,
You're disappearing.
I'm trying to rate. I guess I just have to leave it right there. The Grief Recovery Handbook. And this is a wonderful, this is written actually by John James and Russell Friedman, that are psychologists and therapists in grief. And they talk about grief in so many different ways, and that everything is grief. And I'm not going to go into the exercises in the book, but I can say they're very powerful. And I invite anyone who's going through deep grief to pick up this book, whether it's this edition. This is an old edition. I actually picked up this one and heard about it when I believe I shared with you. There was a series of people where there were 13 people over 18 months. And I just got to the point where it was like I had to put grief way in the back burner. But when it was all said and done, 2 years after the first person made his transition, I couldn't function. And the Grief Recovery Handbook, just starting to work through that. And a couple of these exercises for me have been very, very significant. Again, part of the baseline. Okay. So it is important. It's very important to be able to do that, to move beyond it, not to get rid of it, not to give it a time frame, but just to help you be able to take that next step in that next day, so that you can, feel as if you're being productive, or you're just taking another step forward in your life, rather than have it consume you. And then, because once it starts to consume you, that's where the real depression sets in. And over a period of time, it can become clinical depression. So yes, moving beyond grief is important.
Absolutely. And, having feelings, I want to put this out there because I was working with someone the other day, and their partner is somebody who just has a hard time with feelings. And so I want to remind people that to give yourself space to feel it is not weak. It is not a burden. It is actually important. And I'm going to leave you with this this because if you don't deal with them, if you don't, they are going to show up somewhere,
Yes, they will.
somehow.
Yes, they
And
will.
usually it's in your physical health, right? If you push things down long enough, it's going to show up somewhere in your physical health because the body doesn't ever, they say, right? The body remembers everything. It never forgets.
Yes.
And that's, what happens. What is stress? Stress is a feeling
Mm-hmm.
that then gets released in your body because those hormone, the cortisol gets released in cortisol. Is that right?
Cortisol.
Yeah, that it gets released in your body. So please, I implore you, and I want to support you and let you know that having feelings is not a weakness. How you go through them, there's no right or wrong way
Right.
to process them. There are responsible ways. So I'm going to say there are responsible ways to process them and irresponsible ways to process them. And like Lynn said, it is a daily practice. That
Mm-hmm.
could be going through the drive-through at Starbucks and grabbing your coffee because that's what gives you relief.
Mm-hmm.
It could be calling your friend. It could be meditation, whatever it is for you that helps you feel a little bit of that control in those
Yes.
moments. And I think you said it so well during our conversation is finding a place where you find control. You cannot control the things that are outside of you. You don't know when, people are going to transition. You don't know if your job is secure. You don't know, what is happening financially. We hope, right? We hope that we've done everything we can do, but there's still so many things that are out of our control. And
Mm-hmm.
then when we can see the things that we can control, which is how we deal with situations and how we process them,
Mm-hmm.
that will give you that sense of that silver lining when
Mm-hmm.
everything seems so dark and you can't see a light at the end of the tunnel.
Mm-hmm. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. It is like you said, it's a practice. It's a practice. And it's asking and reaching out for assistance. And assistance can be even you asking for assistance from your higher self. You
Hmm.
know, do your research. Find out what book, find out what video, find out who's out there that's sharing things. Of course, we have the Miracles resources, and we are a full resource in terms of products and books and beautiful healing heroes who are service providers, articles and videos and all sorts of things. Be willing to reach out.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest thing is community. Your
Absolutely.
community might just be you and two other people. Your community may be you and 200 people,
Mm-hmm.
or more, or less, or somewhere in between. It doesn't matter. But your community are like minded people who all are working together to support each other, to help uplift each other, to remind you of the beautiful spiritual being that you are, to help you to move into your happy, healthy, and whole place in every way possible, no matter what that is. So these are the things that are important. And having community can be your one baseline. That can be your one baseline.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what it is. So we encourage you to
Yes.
move beyond your grief and really begin taking control of you, because you can control your thoughts. You can control what you say. You can control what you do and whatever feeling, and you can control your emotions, remembering there are only two emotions, love and fear. And the way that you can control them is by taking control over those other aspects. And then whatever happens outside of you, feel what you feel, and then keep moving forward. Use your tools, use what you know how to do so that you can still move forward. Sometimes you'll be happy, that's a feeling. Sometimes you'll be sad, that's a feeling. Sometimes you will be enthusiastic and elated. Sometimes you're going to hate something. Those are all feelings. And those feelings are okay for you to experience and to feel and to honor. And then you can say, I choose to see the full essence and divinity and this experience, even if I don't understand it right now, and keep moving forward. So that's how you can move beyond grief.
And I think with that, it's time for us to come to a close around this conversation. Would love to hear comments, things that you out there have experienced, anything you would like to share, any tools. And I'm saying you, meaning the listeners, those who are watching, like, comment, share. We'd love to have your feedback. Did you like the conversation? Did you think we missed something? Whatever you have to say, we would love to hear from you. And, check us out on the Miracles Directory. As Lynn so eloquently put, we have people that can support you. We have a community. Check out the website, miraclesdirectory.com. There is a plethora of resources there for whatever you might be dealing with.
And I want to add just one more thing. If you have any questions that you'd like to have answered, we have Ask Lynn when you join our community.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy to answer all of your questions, no matter what they are, how personal or how general, but I'm happy to answer them and help you to move forward beyond whatever it is that you're dealing with at the time as well. And that's simply by being a member. There's no additional fees or anything attached.
There you go. Part of your practices and tools. And until next time, bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today on Healers Talk Healing. We hope you've been inspired and empowered on your holistic healing journey. If you've enjoyed today's episode and want to continue learning and growing with us, don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, and review our podcast. Your feedback and support mean the world to us. Remember, healing is a lifelong journey, and you have the power to transform your life in profound ways. Stay curious, keep exploring, and never stop believing in your own capacity for healing.